Hello, gaming lovers! Talon Gillespie here. Welcome back to my channel. And today, I have a special gaming walkthrough for you all today. But, not only this is a gaming walkthrough, this is also very special. This is an Activision review! Yes, it is the first time that I'm doing an Activision review. That is right, everyone. So my first ever Activision games were basically Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon. But for this, I decided to do the review of Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Basically, this is similar to Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, except they're from the same gaming company, which is Activision, which is very cool. And as you know, I've did a comparison video of these two. And I also beated this game, and I'm still working on Crash Bandicoot, though. It's just, the levels on Crash Bandicoot are pretty tricky, but I'll get back into it soon, and then I'll show it off. But anyway, this is the gaming review, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, which has the three games on there: Spyro the Dragon, Spyro Ripto's Rage, and Spyro Year of the Dragon. So let's begin, starting with the case. So on the front, we got Spyro the Dragon. So that looks pretty cool. So there's Spyro right there. Giant horns right there. And we have some of the villains from the three games. I should say. So we have Gnasty Gnorc right there. And then we have Ripto right there. But we all know Ripto is from the second game, but he was mean. I didn't mind him in the game. And then we have the Sorceress, who is basically a crocodile or an alligator. And then right there is a statue of a dragon right there. And a Rhinoc ninja right there. And it says, includes 3 games. Download required, see back. I'll show you the back in a minute. And there's the Activision logo. It says, original 3 games remastered. So this game is also available for PlayStation, Xbox, and the Nintendo Switch, of course. Here's the back, and there's Spyro right there, but he's also from Skylanders as well, because in case you guys don't know about that. And it says, relive the adventure. 3 games and over 100 levels to explore. Experience epic challenges and re-encounter the fiery personalities. Stunning new animations and graphics. And all you need is 1 player, so there's the TV mode. The per player, and you can play by yourself. And it says you could also use this for a tabletop, and it says tabletop play requires 2 Joy-Con per player. So there's the full game instructions right there. Okay. And there's some scenes from the game right there, from first all the way to the 3rd. Pretty cool. Now let's take a look at the insert real quick before we get into the cartridge. So it comes with this insert of CTR Crash Team Racing Nitro Field, So this is basically a Crash Bandicoot, which I still don't have this one yet, but I'll get into it soon after I beat it in Say Trilogy. But I heard Spyro the Dragon's in this game too, and this is the same insert that comes with Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. Let me show you real quick. So it's the same insert right there, so it's like getting a duplicate, if you will, but on the back has like a different language. So that is interesting. Alright, we'll set Crash Bandicoot to the side, and I do want to show you something. For Crash Bandicoot, it comes with this. Like, I've heard about this insert after I got into the game, and look at that. Now I got the game to go along with the insert. That is pretty neat. I wish they would do like another Spyro game. That would be really cool. But unfortunately, we only get the one for the Nintendo Switch. But again, I hope there's a new Spyro game coming out soon. But we won't know for sure until they announce it. But in the meantime, let's begin. Let's bring up the cartridge right here. Here's the cartridge. It says Spyro Reignited Trilogy. So it says 2019 on here, and yep, it's from 2019, but on the insert it says 2018. So they decided to release it for 2019 instead of 2018, which is kind of weird, but it's still pretty good. Here's the back. All right, let's grab my Switch right here. Turn this on. Let me just exit out of here real quick. Okay, there we go. Now we can insert the cartridge. If I can put my... open this up. Oops. Come on. There we go. Sorry about that. Let's plug this in. All right, here we go. While this is loading, I'll put this insert back. Now that looks pretty cool. The whole insert right there, that looks really nice. That's a good looking picture. Sweet. Okay, here we go. So we have the main menu right here. So it says Spyro Reignited Trilogy. So basically right here we have 3 slots that you can use when you're finished with the other slots in the game. So there's Spyro the Dragon, Ripto's Rage, and then Year of the Dragon. So pretty cool. So it features the colors purple, blue, and red. So that's pretty cool. So I'll show you in this same order. I'm going to show you how to play Spyro, the other characters from Year of the Dragon, and show you how to basically talk to another dragon in the game. So basically only in the first game, I should say, but let's check that out. It says the adventure continues. So you can use the left stick to move around, and the right stick is just for the camera angles. And you press A, he breathes out fire, which is really cool because we all know he's a dragon. And for pressing Y, you can charge and jump at the same time, like this. And you can beat enemies in the game too. Here, let's do this again. And then they disappear. So that's pretty cool. Let's do that one more time. Okay. And if you press ZL and ZR, well, ZR does the firing, just like the A, and if you press X, it's kind of like a view around, if you will, and then B is just for the jumping, so that's pretty neat. And then when you bump into something, it basically bumps Spyro's head, which is a pain. Oh, sorry about that. But anyway, let's show you some demonstrations a little bit. So basically, there's a little pad right there, and then you just walk up to it. Well, there's supposed to be a statue right there, and then it breaks open. And then if you need to re-talk, you just press X like this.
Hi, Spyro.
And then the fairy says, "Hi, Spyro." And you can either continue or replay the dragon. So let's replay the dragon. And this is Nestor. Let's see what happens.
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro. Free 10 dragons in the artisan world, then find the balloonist. He'll transport you to the next world.
What about Nasty Nork? I'm going after him.
Find dragons first. That's all I can tell you.
And then he flies away. So that's pretty cool. And then these little sheep, wherever you do a flame, there's a butterfly. But here's a little something that you should see. Check this out.
Where's Nasty Nork? I'll torch him.
Keep your horns on, Spyro. You have much to learn first. Do you know what the dragonfly following you is doing? His name is Sparx, and he's helping and protecting you. Keep an eye on him and see what I mean.
You see that? That little dragonfly is Sparx. My controls are not working. Sorry about that, guys, but when you do the flame, like this, Sparx will fly around and catch the butterfly and eat it. Let's do that one more time. Now that is very cool. And then right there we have the balloonist right there. And there's a hot air balloon. And if you just go up to him like this,
Hop on, Spyro.
And there's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 worlds right there. So you can either stay here or go to either of these worlds. We have the Peacekeepers, Magic Crafters, the Beastmakers, Dreamwavers, and Ganasty's World. So that's pretty interesting. But now, I'll show you something here. If you pause the game like this, we have the options, which we're not going to get into that for this. I just don't want to run out of time. So there's the controls, sound, the camera, language select, the map, and the subtitles. And for the guidebook, there's different levels that you can play in. So there's the Artisan Worlds, and the boss level for that is Toasty. And for the Peacekeepers, we have Dr. Shem. Okay. And then Blowhard for Magic Crafters. And then the Beastmakers. Oh, oops. Sorry about that. Then we have Metalhead. And then Jacquis? I think that's how you say his name. Jacquis? And then there's Ganasty Gnorc and Ganasty's Loot. And that's basically the bonus level that you have to beat. And then we go to skill points. There's a lot of skill points that you can do. And there's also the art gallery, which we'll take a look at this. So it has the game cover for the first game. And there's Spyro with Sparx, the dragon statue, the Norks, then some of the enemies that you have to beat. And see, that's Ganasty Gnorc. He's the bad guy right there. And there's some of the dragons right there. So that's pretty neat. And now we're on to the second game. Let's go. Okay. So for Spyro 2, the moves are a little bit different. But come on, man. Sorry about that. It's just, like, controllers are not working today. But anyway, enough with the chit-chat. Let's see the other moves. So basically, there's the head bash by pressing the B button and then pressing X is the head bash. And for left and right, you can roll around. And I think in the first game you can. Plus, you can also swim, which is really cool. But you can't swim in the first game because the reason you can't swim in the first game is because you might lose your life. Or lives, I should say. Which is a bit of a shame. Would have been nice to have, like, some swimming action in the first game. That would have been really cool. But unfortunately, we didn't get that. But that is okay.
Remember, press the jump button, then press jump again to glide.
Oh yeah, and to glide, you do it like this. You jump, and then hold it to glide. And then to swim, you just jump in the water and move the left stick to paddle, or basically to move around, and then pressing Y will let you go underwater, which is very cool. And Sparx is actually inside of a bubble to keep him in there, and then you press Y to charge around, to swim very fast, and then press B, and then his wings go up and down for him to paddle, which is very cool. And then if you press A, well, basically, he's supposed to blow bubbles, but I've already beaten the game. It's just this is his extra fire boost. But anyway, there's the summer forest, the autumn plains, and the winter tundra. So there's the 3 seasons there. And then we have the bosses, which we'll get into. Oh, didn't mean to bump the camera. Which we'll get to right now. So for the villains in Spyro Ripto's Rage, there are 3 bosses. There's Crush.
No, Crush! You may have been able to defeat that simpleton, but Golf will be more than a match for you.
Bring it on, Shorty.
The second boss is Gulp.
Golf? What is it, boy? Oh, the ferret. Here you go. Oh! You singed my cape! Dragon, you are really starting to get on my nerves! Say goodbye, flame breath! Gulp! Lunchtime!
And then the final boss is Ripto. He's the main bad guy in Ripto's Rage.
Yeah! Come back here, you useless animals!
Hey, Shorty, maybe I can help.
What? You again?
Yup. If you want to test that power crystal, why don't you try it on me? I'll stand still, I promise.
I like that idea. Dragon, you've just sealed your fate.
Okay, so there's also some speedways in the game too, which is very interesting. And instead of saving dragons, you can collect orbs, which is very cool. And then if you beat the game, you go to Dragon Shores, which is very cool. So let's click on that. So this looks pretty cool. We can play any game.
There. Spyro, you can now go to Dragon Shores. Hey, why don't you guys come with me? I bet you could use a holiday.
I'm afraid we can't, Spyro. Ripto may be gone, but he caused a lot of damage during his short stay. We'll be cleaning up for weeks. Just remember, though, that you can always get back to Avalar from Dragon Shores if you want to visit.
Well, okay. Come on, Sparx. We got a lot of vacation to catch up on. Yeah.
Okay, I got my Joy-Cons fixed. So there's the Duncan Bowl, or basically a Duncan Splash.
Good shot, but I'm clean out of tokens. Keep shooting if you want.
And then there's the roller coaster, and then this one's my favorite, the Tunnel of Love. Let's check that out real quick.
Back to take a whirl on the boat ride?
So it'll tell you if you can choose to do that thing in the game or not. So there's why not and nah. So I'm going to say why not.
Hop aboard, my friend.
All right, let's see what happens. Oh, there's the professor.
Just for kicks, eh, Spyro? You've already got your token. Come back anytime, though.
There's also another shooting game right there, but we also have the Dragon Shores Theater, which we'll get into. Oh, check it out. There's a little poster right there, which is very cool. So basically, it's a little movie theater and shows you all the scenes that you can check out, which is very cool. Okay, now we're moving on to the third game, Year of the Dragon. Here we go.
My name is Alora.
Hi. I'm Spyro. What are you, some kind of goat?
I'm a fawn, you dork.
Oh, sorry.
Did you meet the gem cutters in Glimmer?
Yeah, they gave me a souvenir, too. They called it a talisman.
Spyro, look. There's no way you can get to Dragon Shores right now. Ripto and his monsters have taken over the castle here in the Summer Forest. You're going to have to go to Avalar's worlds and convince the inhabitants to give you their talisman. You can keep them in your guidebook.
Hey, I could do that. Why doesn't the dragon just torch Ripto?
Hunter, you can't even keep track of your running shoes. How can we trust you with 14 talismans?
Okay. So we're here at Sunrise Springs. And that comes up after winter, right? So basically, we're going to get into the how to control the other characters. Like, basically, we'll get into them, but it's just, I just want to show you something really cool first. Let's check this out. So not only you can explore in the game, you can also skateboard in the game.
You can go for the course record now if you want. Whenever you hop on a skateboard, a timer will start. Score as many points as you can until the timer expires or you wipe out. Good luck!
And while you're skateboarding, always make sure you wear your safety gear. Just like Hunter is wearing right here. So that's pretty cool. But I will show you a couple moves while Spyro is skateboarding. Check this out. Whoa! And then if you wipe out, the skateboard will break apart, and then you have to restart. So that's basically what happens while you're skateboarding in the game. But I'm trying to get the hang of this. Plus, if you guys are, like, having trouble with one of these, like, sometimes they can be hard and challenging at the same time. Like that, because... And always make sure if you practice skateboarding, too. Like that, but... And now, let's move on to control the other characters in the game. Let's do that.
I better go check on those billy goats again. Last time I left them alone, they ate all the shingles off the roof.
Okay. So to play as Sheila the kangaroo, so basically Sparx stays the same. So you can jump, and if you double jump, you can actually jump very high, which is very cool. And for pressing Y, you can kick. And if you press B and X, just like with Spyro, she stomps. Plus, she can also swim in the game too, but not underwater, but only on the surface. But if you keep bouncing, you can jump really high. And kick enemies and little blue jay ducklings? I'm not sure what those birds are. But now we're moving on to Bentley the Yeti. But first, before we get into Bentley the Yeti, let's move on to Sergeant Bird. Oh yeah, Sergeant Bird is next. Okay. Here we go. Here we go, go. Sorry. Catching on my singing.
I have to train the hummingbirds. They must be in peak physical condition if we're going to take on the sorceries.
Alright, we have Sergeant Bird, which is voiced by the same actor as Spyro. So, it's basically kind of like a penguin. So you can move around. And not only you can jump, you can also push this a million times, or tons of times, I should say, to make him fly. And pressing A launches his rockets. And you press X, it'll show him. It'll show his target mode, which is really cool. So that is really, really neat. Okay, now we're moving on to the next character. Here we go. Here we go.
I will gladly help you on your quest, Spyro. But first, I must attend to my young sibling. I'm afraid he may have gotten himself into trouble during my absence.
Okay, so we got Bentley the Yeti right there. And he's one of my favorite characters, because you know why? Because I have a friend named Bentley, because that's pretty cool. So that is pretty cool. So the jumping stays the same for some of the characters. And you press Y, he does like a spin attack. And the look stays the same. Plus you can crush, and his ice club smashes down like that. Plus you can do that with the ZR as well. So that is really, really neat. And now we're moving on to the last character that you can play, and that is Agent 9, the monkey. Here we go.
Hiya, Spyro. I'm just off to patrol the island again, you know, in case any Rhinox decide to come crawling back.
Okay. So we got Agent 9, the monkey. I wonder why you can't see his face, but you can... Not only you can move forwards and other sides, he can also walk backwards too. And he can jump and blast with his blaster. And you can use the left and right buttons to move him too, which is very awesome. And here's another cool thing. Listen to this.
A vast number of Rhinox are waiting to ambush us as soon as I lower this force field. I expect they'll keep coming until you shoot the red panic button next to the door where they emerge.
The professor does sound like Tom Kenny, which is actually his voice, which is very cool. And now, let's move on to the next example. Okay, the next example is when you enter the look, you can use sniper mode to zoom in and to zoom out. So you press right and then left. Just like that. And then blast while you're shooting your enemies. So that is the next example. And now we're moving on to how to control Sparx. Let's do it. Okay, for Sparx, you can move around, but he moves kind of slow. And then if you press Y, he goes super fast. And then A is basically his shooting ability. Which is very nice. So that is really cool right there. If you start to lose power, he starts to lose his color, which is turns from yellow to blue to green. And now we're moving on to the last part of the video, showing the rest of the art gallery. Okay. So let's check this out. So there's the cover for Year of the Dragon right there. So there's Spyro, Sheila, Sergeant Bird, Agent 9, and Bentley right there. So that is really cool. And there's Bianca. That's basically the rabbit, or bunny, I should say. And there's some of the other characters there too. And now for the next part for one of the levels. Listen carefully. Okay. Instead of shooting fire, you can shoot out ice. And if you see a blue butterfly, it'll give you more lives if you ever see a little creature. Which is really cool. And then when you use your ice powers,
I get my flippers on that rotten beer.
you can freeze some of the characters too. Plus your enemies as well. And then use your charge to stop them. Which is really cool, and looks like there's snow on the ground, so that's pretty cool. Okay. And now we're moving on to the next art gallery from Ripto's Rage. Here we go. Okie dokie. Here we go. Alright, here's the cover for Ripto's Rage, which is very cool. And there's Hunter. There's Moneybags right there. He's basically a bear. And there's also different characters that you can see as well. So that looks pretty cool. Okay. That will do it. Plus, I gotta make sure I charge up my Switch too for the next gaming reviews. So I'll be able to do that, and yeah. So let me set this down. Or right here, I should say. But now that was basically pretty cool. And for this game, do I recommend this? I think I do pretty much. So let's close this up. Okay. So that was the review of Spyro Reignited Trilogy. And for this, I give it a 10 out of 10. But I'm trying to beat another skill point in the game, which I'm trying to make a progress to, but it's a bit tricky, but you know how it goes. But I'll show you in a separate video when I got the last skill point in Year of the Dragon. But anyway, let me know in the comments section down below and tell me if you have this game for the Switch or basically for PlayStation or Xbox. And that will do it for this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and ding the notification bell for new videos. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you later.
It's a sad sight, Sparx. Another noble warrior falls victim to the plague of love. Just look away. Well, I guess we'll have to find the rest of the eggs by ourselves.
Come on, Spyro. Take a little break.